Renewed optimism tonight for a second stimulus check and LWA extensions by executive order from President Trump as Nancy Pelosi goes to pot. Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Evenings LALATE, part of our 1 hour programming pot. Did I say pot? Schedule. Programming pot, whatever. Every night at 6:30 starts with a check and then goes to EIDL or something, you know, coherent more than a Nancy Pelosi pod bill. But thank you for joining me. I'm very honored and blessed that you're joining me for tonight in a day in which it's been everything and everyone. Fires, smoke. Thank you for your well wishes. It's better air quality out this afternoon and this evening, so that's why I'm back outdoors. But thank you for your incredible kindness, and if there was a time to subscribe and like this channel and video, it's now. Let's get to the incredible details about what's going to be happening as we go into the weekend and why there's renewed optimism about a second stimulus check to come by executive order and an extension of LWA to come by executive order as everyone looks elsewhere from Congress that simply is going to pot, actually, literally. The details are the following. The president has inherent executive authority to issue stimulus checks when the money is not in Treasury, and this money is not in Treasury. The president has an inherent executive order authority to do an extension of LWA or FPUC, whatever you call it, when the money is also not in Treasury, and this money, as this report channel is only reporting, is also not in Treasury. So what is going on? How long do we have to wait for this to happen? And is there now concern that other lobbying groups are trying to take that money and use it for themselves for executive orders before your stimulus checks get out? Let's get to the incredible details tonight. First, this channel has been reporting over the last couple days only. Nowhere else will you see this reporting that there's upwards of $500 billion available potentially to go out by executive order. We know the following. We know that the president wants to do executive orders. Now, again, we're going back to people who have lied to us over the last week. So, you know, we're going to take it with a grain of salt. But Mark Meadows has said the president is floating, doing executive orders. And that is in the last week that Meadows has said that comment. The president typically, as the viewers of this channel have said in comments, does executive orders on the weekends, announcing them on Friday and releasing them on Saturday. Usually does them with very little fanfare, and they're just out. A week ago today was the day in which the president said he had identified $300 billion from a prior CARES Act fund that had not been used and wanted to send it out by second stimulus checks. So what does that mean as you sit here tonight? First, there's a lot of details to grasp from that. The money is not in Treasury. The money is not in Treasury, as the president says. This is money that's out of Treasury, that's in the coffers of a federal agency tasked to do something for COVID-19 in early pandemic weeks, but that money has just sat there unused. He didn't explain why, but I can explain to you basically what the translation of what he's saying is, that this is money that was dedicated for a service. An act of Congress said, hey, let's put this money there for this thing. The program expired and the money is still sitting there. The money doesn't go anywhere. It just sort of sits there. So that's where that money is. The president is trying to repurpose, is I guess the best way to use the verb, repurpose the money for another purpose. And the purpose we want the money to be used for is stimulus checks. He says he wants to use the money for stimulus checks. He has said in the month of June, the month of July, the month month of August, the month of September, he went to send out stimulus checks. I can run the quotes again, but you remember the quotes. They were everything that he wanted to give you a more generous check than $1,200. He wanted the check to be in your hands within just a few weeks. He didn't want you to wait around. He wanted the checks to come to you in a quick and finite manner. He said that you deserve the checks. You need the checks. He's more focused on you getting the checks than other people. He wants the checks to be in the hands of American people. Well, with that statement passing and repeating itself in June, July, August, and now September, the question is, okay, well, why hasn't it been done? And there's a lot of reason to that, but I don't think it is a technical reason. The technicalities that one could ask are, can he not send out the money? Yes, he can send out the money. Does he have enough money? Yes, he has enough money. First, he can send out the money because it's not in Treasury. I just covered that. But second, he technically has enough money. I've calculated for you that based upon the CARES Act 1, there's enough money to cover the amount of people that would need a second stimulus check. That's really, really great news. So everything functionally is lined up well. And one final question the viewers asked me on the functionality issue is, how would they get the money to me if it's not IRS sending the money to me? There's a lot of ways to do that. If the money, for example, is not in an IRS fund, it's somewhere in another agency, he can have IRS tasked to help with the routing of the money. It's just that it can't be Treasury money, which is sort of a different thing. He additionally can, set up a whole other process by which you get the money that you apply and then it comes into a bank account. He can do a lot of different things. The point is he can do it, and there's enough money there for you. How much money would you get? This is reading tea leaves, but it's also reading his comments over the last few weeks. Now, he did say that one time he wanted to give you more than $1,200 stimulus checks. That was the only time he ever said that. All the other times he said in his tweets about 3 weeks ago, in Meadows' comments and everyone else's comments, $1,200 individuals, $2,400 married couples. His most recent executive orders, CDC for eviction, just, 2 weeks ago, and the one before that, all really track CARES 1 qualifications. So if you made less than approximately $90,000 2019 earnings, you would get a second stimulus check. If you are a married couple and you made $198,000 or less, you would get a second stimulus check. And what the Republicans wanted to do all this entire time, from June all the way to the present, is to give a stimulus check to people who are dependents, whether adult or minor dependents. And this is really great news. This is not what was in the first stimulus package. If you're on SSDI, SSI, and Social Security and railroad benefits and did not get a first stimulus check because you're over 18 years of age and it depended on your child's tax return, you would get a stimulus pack check under all these proposals from the Republicans in recent weeks. So we have that, and then the last two questions remain unsettled are child support and number of people in the household. It's just really hard to tell. The president could take it off of child support, but it seems so unlikely in an executive order to have that language. And second, the number of people in the household, he could do 3, he could do 4. His most recent tweets and comments look like it's around 3. But there you go. Then the issue of LWA. Can he do another round of LWA? I'm reporting he can. I'm reporting that there's upwards of $200 billion still sitting around for other programs that have been reported on news channels since May as returned money sitting there, not being used, not being utilized, and ready to be repurposed. They're not inside a Treasury, and that money can be allocated for another purpose. That purpose could be another round of LWA. As viewers of this channel may be dropping in the comments, I've seen them earlier today, was, well, how would LWA 2.0 be structured? And how would it be phrased? It's likely that it would pass the way the first one was. Yes, those provisions that you absolutely did not like would likely come back. That executive order that created LWA 1.0 said a $100 threshold to be qualified for LWA, and also said that states could throw an additional $100 on top of it. And those states that did were Kentucky, Montana, Vermont, West Virginia, I believe I'm saying them right, and one other. Would 2.0 LWA do the same thing? Highly likely, yes. And how would it be done? Highly likely the same way. Does he need to do another executive order? No, I mean, he really does not. He has an executive order. He has an executive order saying, let's do LWA. It doesn't say in the executive order, we're expiring in September. It actually says, I think we're expiring in December. It just says, just go do it. And then, if you recall the history of that executive order, it was created, and then we didn't know where it was coming from. That's how he does his executive orders. This is a peculiar way. He establishes something, but he doesn't say where the money is going to come from, who has the money, where you apply, or anything like that. So when LWA went live in executive order, we didn't know anything about FEMA. We didn't know anything about FEMA having money or that you apply to FEMA. FEMA's not even mentioned in the executive order at that point. It just says, hey, this is the way we're going to do it. And then suddenly FEMA raises his hands and says, I'm the one doing it for you. It's not like they ironically just volunteered. He had already teed it up. He does not put it in the executive order. So the money could just start going back out under the same executive order. Today, FEMA confirmed that states will be getting 6 weeks of benefits and that the money is gone. That it's basically, we're looking at 6 weeks and that you're not going to really see any additional money. Arizona has a little bit more than 6 weeks because they applied first. They have about 6.5 weeks, but that's about it. So this money's really needed. LWA is going to expire 1.0 if you're looking at the weeks of certification, just quite shortly. And so people are going to need LWA in October and November, and they're going to need stimulus checks now, and they're going to need this relief ASAP. So how soon could the money come to you? And why is this being sort of, dragged out? Ultimately, I don't know why the president hasn't done this yet. I've certainly detailed for you that the president has to do it or won't get reelected. The president has to do it by a certain time to get the benefit of it. If you don't know what I mean, there's a political purpose to putting money in the hands of people before they vote. It gives a person a 3 percentage point jump in the polls. Well, you don't give them money after they voted. You give them the money before they vote. And you have to count back not just from election day, but the day at which they start going into mail-in ballots at home. So you look at the day at which mail-in ballots may be going out and when they start voting, and you want to ensure that they have a stimulus check by then. You want to ensure that they have LWA benefits then. You want to ensure that they're getting money and relief and assistance from this government at the time in which they're going to decide between Joseph Biden or Donald Trump. You just don't send out the money after that decision. You send it out before. Now, some viewers wonder, why has this been dragged out so long? It's really not clear, but what I've detailed for you, and I'm not defending anyone, you certainly know I don't, is that a lot of these programs just recently expired. PPP just expired just a few weeks ago. It's not like PPP has just, expired just a day, just 5 months ago. It just expired just a few days ago. I'm reporting that some of this money is likely to be PPP money. And we know that because there's reports that the last round of PPP was left unused. Where would it be? At SBA. Who would it be under? Yeah. It all goes back to the scarf lady. I told you. You don't know why the kid with the EIDL videos is dominating the space now, because it always comes back to the scarf lady. It always comes back to EIDL. So it is highly likely that's where the money is. It's hiding under a pile of scars on the corner of SBA's offices. And, get the friggin' money out. It's ironically, if it really is there, I can't believe the whole microcosm of the universe may all track back to the scarf lady after all this. Can you imagine Oh, the irony of the situation. If the money is really there, she's actually good at getting money out really fast. And I don't want 500 comments about how's she going to know where I am? Where do I know? I don't talk to her. She don't know where I am. I don't even know who JV LALATE is. I just saw the video yesterday. I'm so confused who she is. It's like, okay, just take it down a notch. Have some of the Nancy Pelosi pot bill and then come back to me a second. But that is possible as to what could be transpiring. As you sit here tonight, it's important to understand a couple of things. First, it's important to understand that another round of stimulus checks, which I was just discussing, could come by executive order. It's important to understand that another round of LWA can come by executive order. It's also important to understand that hazard pay, rent aid, food stamps, mortgage assistance, financial assistance, student debt payments, all of those things of the second stimulus package show no path to getting approved this moment. So all those things you've been wondering about, I don't want you to have hopes for, because I just don't see them happening. I've been detailing for you extensively that hazard pay on a local level, state level, county level, city level, and a business level is still highly likely, but not on a federal level. Rent aid, same thing, local and county, but not on a federal level. So I don't want you to think that those things are coming for you. I also additionally want you to apply for as many things as you qualify for. So remember, PUA and UI, for weeks that you are impacted, if those weeks go all the way back to March, you can get $600 a week, the bonus, the add-on, the FPUC for that period. It became different than we ever thought it was. We thought that as soon as August came, you could never get those $600 back in March to July. States are still allowing you in many cases to apply for UI and PUA, and if your date of impact is back into March to July, you can get that $600 a week. How much money is that? Well, let's do the calculations. You know, we're wondering about $1,200 stimulus checks. Let's do the calculations for how much money you could be getting for UI or PUA if you're eligible in March to the present. March, April, May, June, July. That's 5 months, 4 weeks a month, 20 weeks on a minimum of about $800 a week. 20 times 800, it's a couple dollars. It's a couple dollars. Then going forward, late July to now, you have August and part of September. So you have about, you have 6 weeks times 300, which is, a few dollars also. So if you qualify for these things, you should be getting on them. If you're an independent contractor, a solo practitioner, you do Uber, you do Lyft, you do Postmates, you do Grubhub, you do Airbnb, you're a hairstylist, you do anything that you declare 2019 Schedule C taxes on, you should be getting an EIDL loan. You should be getting an EIDL loan. You should be getting it right away because the principal and interest is not due until a year from now. And you shouldn't be waiting. These instruments are out there to provide you relief. These grants are out there to provide you relief. And I don't want you to be waiting and salivating every time the Temple of Doom opens her door to tell you, I have another pot bill. You want a puff of it? It's just enough already. There's positivity, there's progress, there's money, and there's programs out there for you. This channel will continue to identify new grant programs when they're announced. This channel will continue to announce other things that you should be on alert for that could give money to you. And so as you sit here tonight, the focus remains on one path, but that's the path as we sit here tonight. When we talk about executive orders by Donald Trump for FPUC and stimulus checks, that's because there's literally no progress on matters of Congress as we sit here this evening. But it could certainly change, and it could certainly change by the day or by the hour. As always, stay with me. Coming up next after this video, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, but I have a feeling you're going to like it. Let's just leave it like that. If there was a time to like and subscribe to this channel, today might be that one. Go to the front of this channel, hit the subscribe button. That stuff I was telling you about with the red button, I totally messed that up for almost 3 weeks. I thought you see the red button, but I guess I only see the red button. And then I thought you see the purple heart, but I guess you don't see the purple heart? Very confusing. I'm sorry. What's the purpose of you having a red heart that only I can see, a purple heart that only I can see? It's just very, very confusing. But if you subscribe to this channel, then you're part of the community. Next, like this video, because when you like the video, it appears higher in the ranking. We're doing really well today, and we were doing well yesterday as always. Sorry I was a little bit late on this afternoon's videos. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, stay focused, and join me next for the next video right after this, and stay of LA for more.